acute, leaving shallow waters, going deeper in, having conversations till we're all in. Community, unity, you and me, see, till we all know. DayStart, welcome to DayStart. Let's begin. DayStart, know the Bible front to end. DayStart, oh, DayStart, DayStart, you can welcome in.
I believe this is Solomon is writing. Is it still Solomon's writing?
You got to tell us.
Okay. Well, what I can tell you, that whoever the author is, I believe Solomon started Proverbs.
You know, you just give yourself homework, right?
Yeah, that part.
Okay.
But this, there's a lot of in doing so, path can not only be straight, but it will have light. And do not take heed to folly, or that's where or death will set in. So lots of wisdom passed down. Lots of walk as in good counsel. Fear your parent, or respect your parental
units,
your parental wisdom. Yes. and life will be good.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else? What did you gain from checking out this 15th Proverbs? And I welcome Miss Anita and Jennifer and Richard Lane, Brad Price, my Bev. We got DJ Doug. I see Dr. Brad Wood, 19, #1 in the Alaskan Fisherman Club. And let's see who else we got. Mr. Herman, Rhonda Rogers, Derek Jr., Linda Thomas, and yeah, a host of others. But somebody talk to me. Y'all quiet this morning? Let's see, how many readers did we get? Get readers read this whole chapter. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, that explains a lot. Let's see, 10 of us, 11 out of 34. Okay. Well, it's such an easy read. The wicked and the wise, contrasting ways of doing life. Come on, Miss Beverly.
Well, Jerome was on the path, but we know that this Proverbs was written by Solomon, who was King David's son. And the purpose of these Proverbs was to help young people, but it also helps us. But he wanted young people to understand how gaining wisdom will help them through life, because biblical principles merge with real life issues. So that was one of the purposes of writing. And what I wrote down is that he or she who heeds life-giving corrections will live with the most skillful, experienced, that live most skillfully with experience, especially those who seek the advice and seek counsel from the sage.
So that's good. So it's a cheat sheet for young folk, but old folk who ain't never growed up. I guess they could benefit as well. But
You
yeah,
know, I also
seeking.
thought about our childlike and childish subject from last week when I read
Mm-hmm,
this.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It all comes together, doesn't it? Yeah, all comes together. Um, what were your thoughts about this very simple, straightforward proverb as it relates specifically to our topic for the week? The ear that hears the rebukes of life will abide among the wise. Go ahead and develop that. Michelet did really good in her prayer to bring it out, to say what it say, and also to commit to doing some things that will be in line with this. Who wants to work that out? Put it in your. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Hey, Bishop.
Yes, Rome. Yeah,
Uh,
man.
so in tying it back to the topic this week of listening versus hearing, the other part that I took away from it, those who practice discernment and those who practice prudence, you can only do so by listening, because by listening you are processing information before before you speak. So
Mm,
those who practice discernment will speak life and truth,
mm,
versus those who speak folly. There's no thought. It takes no thought at all. All it takes is
yeah.
for you to lean on your own understanding.
Got it. Got it. All right. Mark Clark, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Just to add on to what Jerome said, so that we can just combine these two. As I was looking up and just checking uh, old language meanings, hearing anytime is we're provoked to hear, or we're instructed to hear. It indicates that we should be listening intelligently, acutely,
Mm,
and that
mm,
that
mm,
that is the difference.
mm, mm,
Intelligently, acutely. When the writer, God, or the prophet says here, they are instructing you or prompting you not just to identify a noise, but they're prompting you to engage your senses intelligently, as to what you are receiving.
Give attention to.
Give attention intelligently.
So that's good. Um, you made me think of other words. Woe unto the hearken. So many words that really draws you in closer. This isn't a casual thing. You need to pay attention to this. Even the Selah, right? Rolls right in there. Think about it.
And you said yesterday about the ear, reason why you didn't put certain scriptures in there about the ear, but it identifies the audience. The ear is the audience. So
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good too.
not talking about the physical ear, but we're speaking to the audience that we're trying to influence.
Right. Right. Yeah. Someone else jumped in there.
I have an old saying again that parallels this. It says, "A hard head makes a soft behind," and if you continue to operate from the point that you have a stiff neck, then your soft behind is going to continually be tested.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Your thoughts? You like that, bad dupes? Uh, the ear that hears. And then, well, you got this thing is really kind of loaded, y'all. You got the ear, as Mark pointed, that's the audience. Then don't we know about the rebukes of life? As parents, don't we refer to the rebukes of life as our children close their ears to our counsel, and we know that the rebukes of life will deliver unto them what they need to get on. And then abiding among the wise. What does that look like? What is that? What is that? What picture does that paint? You know? So looking to hear from you all. And I know it's
Another
yeah.
thing I got from this too is that we need, yeah, I think you talked about, was it yesterday? You talked about how we just, in this country, we throw away the older people as if, they have nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
But
We see gray hair, we run the other
right.
way.
Yes, the one thing that we need to be seeking their advice. And one thing my dad used to always say, and I think he said it to some of the people at Harvest Church when I didn't even realize that he was engaging with them. But one thing he would always say is, you asked his advice on something, he said, always do the right thing. And you know how soft spoken he was.
Yeah.
And when you're younger, you don't understand that. Always do the right thing. Even when you're presented with doing something wrong, always that it requires you to, first of all, yeah, I had to hear what he was saying, even though I didn't understand it then. Years later, when I became more mature and and put childish ways to the side, and had a child myself, then I realized you have to stop. This hearing and listening is really requires some intention. Like you say, turn on the camera, because sometimes if you don't, you tend to go off and do other things and pick up something else. You're distracted. But when the camera is on, you're focused, and you hear what people are saying. But the other thing with that is that it requires action on your part. So then I had to realize that when my dad said something, when I was presented with something, this is not right. I hear my dad in my ear, always do the right thing, make the right choice, make the right decision. So that again is what Herman said, a hard head makes a soft behind.
Yeah. Those simple few word one liners
Mhm.
that are packed with wisdom, wisdom for life. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Someone else is there. Come on.
yeah, I was thinking as Bev was talking, wisdom instructions to children that they don't heed. And it sounds simple enough. We tell our
Mm-hmm.
children, don't do this, don't do that, because we're trying to keep them safe from the rebukes of life.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like much, but here in current news, there's a situation where this young kid, I think it was like 14, he stole something from a store, and two grown men chased him down. And not only did they chase him down, they ran him out of his shoes. And when they finally caught him hundreds of yards away, they shot him and killed him.
Mm.
That was the consequence. That was a rebuke of life. Now, should they have done it? No. They
Mm-hmm.
actually got off. They were charged with murder, and they were not. They were found not guilty. Now, the rebuke, the wisdom was, when you go in the store, son, don't steal.
Mm-hmm.
The consequence of life, because we can't always determine those for you. When you're not wise, the consequence may be varied. Sometimes it's a slap on the wrist, sometimes it's a rebuke. In this case, this young man lost his life over a simple thing. The rebuke was extreme. And that is the concern of every parent, that the child hears wisdom and instruction and don't go down that path, you know, because you can't control the rebukes of life. They come in all kind of shapes, form, and sizes. But if you never go down that path, if you don't engage, as Solomon was talking yesterday, don't get with your little friends and start planning and scheming with your little friends, because it's going to take you down a path where you will you will have to receive those consequences of the rebukes of life.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm I'm listening and I'm thinking, um, this young man joins with others who exercise an option, here or not here. It's an option. When Peterson puts it in his way, if you want to live an honored and be an honored guest among wise men and women, it's like who are you with? You know, there's a measure. Who's around you? Even now, who's around you? Now, in the context of the church, you know, I've always been mindful of, well, I mean, we call them cliques, but that's the negative. Let's just call them groups because there are legitimately some groups of people who run together, you know, because they have affinities. They share some things about life. But I'm always looking for those who gather because they love God. They love the things of God. They love the word of God. They love the expressions of God. And that brings them together. And those people, when they come together, um, you know, you hear it. And then you see the fruit of it as well. And I think that's something to consider in our own assessment of where we might be with regard to the instruction of this proverb. Who we listen to, who we listen to will.
You know, yes, yesterday I was I'm on the campus of University of New Mexico, and we took a little break because I had a meeting, but there was a faculty member that was there, and he's been here for a while, and I thought he was fascinating, and so he came in and he sat. Everybody else was gone. I was sitting in there, and he talked to me for a long time, and I was like sitting there listening and hearing him, hearing what he had to say, and like engaging in conversation. And so, I mean, we were there for like almost an hour, just him and I talking. And so, when my colleagues came back, they were like, man, one of them said, because she works here, so she was like, you sat and you listened to him that whole time? And I was like, yeah, like he had a lot of stuff to say. And I was like, we had a conversation, and so sometimes, when I realized that she gets him all the time. So for her, it's noise. She doesn't hear. Her
Mm-mm.
ear is a
Oh, say
different
that
ear,
again, though. Slow that
right?
down. Slow that down and develop that a bit because I think that's the case with a lot of people.
It is. And
It's
so when
so when she hears him, she hears. Can I add to that?
mhm,
Rambling.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, talking about the past, the good old days. Come
Mhm.
on.
No, I mean, and that's what she said. She was like, a conversation is about this, but he starts, she used the word pontificating about something else.
Good.
And I said, I mean, but in our conversation, he dropped so many gems. We talked about books, we talked about his experience all over the world. And I said, this must be what it feels like to sit around a whole bunch of wisdom, but because you're so accustomed to hearing it that at some point you get tired or you get exhausted, or whatever the case may be, you stop listening and your ear turns off. The audience is not the same. Um, and actually,
Your voice turns off.
your
Yeah.
voice turns off, but you miss some things in the process. And
Correct.
I think um that's what I hear, that's what I heard in this scripture. Because you're not listening for the rebukes of life. You're not
Mm,
listening for the good advice,
mm.
right? You're not listening for that. At this
The
point,
value isn't there.
The
for you.
value isn't there because you've made the determination that it's not valuable.
Correct.
And the problem with that is that there's so much miss, which is why when you hear the phrase wisdom is wasted on the youth, right? Because this idea that you're not listening, because you got it, you know it, and you know which direction you want to go. But sometimes, a lot of times, oftentimes, it will behoove you to just sit and listen. I do it all the time. Whenever somebody tells me something, yeah, I may write it down, we might talk it through, but I'm listening to hear because there's danger when you don't.
Yes, there's danger when you don't.
There's danger when you don't, and I think that this happens with parents all the time. I mean, with aunts, I work in a cultural center, so students be like, "Oh, doctor, you be saying all kind of stuff," until you come back around to it, and you like, "Remember, yes, right?" Because there are some pathways that people have already traveled that it just, it goes back to the childlike faith, the childlike
Good.
putting away childish things. Like the childish thing is I'm gonna plug my ears and I'm gonna stop listening because I got all I need, or I don't even want to hear it.
Or
But
be
when you
dismissive.
or be dismissive of someone else's
That's the ugly one.
experience, of
Mm-hmm.
their life, of their
Or
life's
even
work,
of their presence.
of their presence.
But
And you know that man stayed in that building. Like he talked to me for an hour, talked to us for a little bit, and when he left, she said all of that. And when I went to use the bathroom, he was sitting in his office, listening to music, doing whatever he was doing. But it was because he was in community with people that listened to him. He'll be
Mm-hmm.
back today. He gonna have some more to say. I already know it.
did,
Mm.
did we not hear that yesterday from our elder? We stopped listening and the elders stopped speaking.
Yeah.
Papa Lonnie said you don't say a lot because evidently somebody's not listening.
Yeah.
And that the ear, the audience to listen stimulates the wisdom, the
Yeah.
words of. I remember a long time ago, and it's still true today, but when Mildred had young children, just their voice, just their core, the cry of a baby will stimulate a mother's milk
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that's what's needed. That
Mm-hmm.
that nourishment, that wisdom, that the what the body needs
Mm-hmm.
when the baby cries, it
Yeah.
stimulates and it produces it from the source.
Yeah. Yeah. Herman, come on.
Yeah, that goes back to what Papa Lonnie was saying yesterday, and then the idea, uh, the factor of it, the messenger, and it's not because they don't want to hear what he has to say. They think that they already know what he's going to say, based upon the fact that it's become like it's routine. And I'm going to bring it home, just like the pastoral staff, and then you, Bishop, you go off and someone else delivers the message. And the first thought that comes to mind, well, he's not bishop. He's not going to deliver the message in the manner in which I'm accustomed. So I'm either not going to show, or I'm going to shut down. I'm going to be engaged in something else while he's delivering his message, or she's delivering her message, not knowing that the message that I'm not saying that you're just being obstinate. You have just become accustomed to hearing the message delivered in a certain way. But then it becomes a time when you've become so accustomed to hearing it in a certain way, it, it's as if you almost want to shut down,
Mm.
because I've heard that before. And to give you another analogy, that's why they fire many coaches within all the professional sports. The team no longer hears what the coaches has to say because they're tired
Wow.
of hearing the same thing.
So you brought up another thought or word that I want to place in our glossary for this subject, and that is repetitive. We resist the repetitive voice. Um, since Ned ain't here and Beverly won't tell, we assign numbers to his stories. And so if he starts to tell the story, and I ain't got to sell y'all on this, we'll say, oh, number 45. So, but I'll tell you this. You know, years after he's gone, some of those repetitive stories that you like, here we go again, will come to mind. We had a lady that testified the same testimony over and over for years, and it was about her healing. And whenever something comes up where there's a need for prayer for healing, think about her testimony. I can see her body language. I can hear her inflections. I can hear her story told over and over again. So, you know, the verse like this, and this is this that we come for every morning. The beauty of a single little bitty verse like this is bringing life. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling joy talking about it. I'm feeling enriched just hearing about this, the wisdom told by the aged, and the beauty of what can happen, the possibilities when the voices are heard. We get a chance to practice hearing now. We get a chance to be intentional, be deliberate, and sensitized. Sensitized. We know. Yeah, there's something there. By the way, for me, Mark, with my grade, y'all know I'm gonna wear my gray until it ain't there no more, but I think God gonna let me keep it. But you know, I spaces with young people with a little bit of swag and arrogance about it. That's where I am. And y'all gonna listen to me one way or the other. We're gonna give you a little something, or we're gonna give you more, whatever you're willing to take, but we're gonna drop it. We're gonna drop it.
That's and that device to get the attention of the audience is wisdom.
Come on.
You mentioned the repetitiveness, and Herman mentioned that, and it made me think of sometimes, and even Solomon, he wrote these proverbs out, and he said, rehearse them, talk about them, read them, listen,
Good.
say it again, say it again. And then he mentioned them as the woman, listen to her again and again.
You're in
Now,
the
sometimes that helps, and it really helps. And I was thinking about Moses after they crossed the Red Sea. The book says that Moses wrote a song about the victory and the goodness of God. And he said, and you all learn this. I need you to learn this. And I need you to sing it over and over and repeat it. Get the words down, because this is telling you what you need to know about God and deliverance and victory. And as you said, that the lady telling her testimony, there will come a time where all you will have is the rote memory of this expression. You won't feel it, you won't see it, but there's wisdom in the repetitiveness of God's goodness, because we forget. He doesn't forget, but we forget. He doesn't need to be reminded of wisdom. He is. But unfortunately, we veer off sometimes at any
Yeah,
age.
we do.
We will assume and forget and think we know. So yeah, we need to be prompted. And one of the ways of prompting is repetitiveness from a good source.
Yeah, repetition gets it done. Why we sing songs, right? Okay, it's 8:05. And somebody else want to pop in there, because this has been so sweet, so sweet, so wonderful. Anybody else comments on this? Yeah.
So I'm going to pop in real quick here. And just so you know, I'm not in Alaska. I was in Minnesota yesterday. I'm back in Chicago now. So that was the Mississippi River I was fishing on. But anyway, I was up there for my nephew's graduation. I took my mother up, or as I tell everybody else,
They don't they,
and she's, go ahead. Say it again. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but we got you, we got you.
I'm in a matrix here, but anyway, so took my mom up, and she has some challenges. So I go out fishing on the Mississippi River, come back, and my nephew and some of the other young folks are at the dining room table 1950s and 60s and the challenges. That's something my mother has not done in a long time, but I just noticed the life that it brought to her, that to know that she had the listening ear of young people, the life that it brought to her. I haven't seen that from my mom in a while. And so that was just something. So that just sparked, so thought I'd share that as I'm hustling down up Madison Avenue there.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Bishop,
Yeah, be safe out there.
can I throw one more little
Go-
thing in there? And this
Come
is
on,
a,
Herman.
this
You
is a
must.
personal thing. This is a personal thing. When I was growing up, my father was an uneducated man. Okay, but my father would always say, "Boy, stand still so I can learn you something."
Mm.
Okay, and we know that's grammatically incorrect. But now that I've gotten older, I think about it. He wasn't just teaching me, showing. He wasn't just telling me how to do something. He was learning me how to do it because he was actually engaged in doing it himself repetitively so that he could convey in hopes that what he was learning me would stick in this big head of mine. And so, and that again, that's back to the messenger. We also oftentimes don't want to give heed or give respect to the messenger. And if
Yeah.
someone along the way had heard my father speak like that, a number of people would, even within my little what we call group, wouldn't have listened to him. Oh man, what I'm saying? Oh, you don't know what he's talking about. You don't know what he's talking about. But the older I get, the more I see that, hey, I'm not just going to tell you something. I'm going to show you how to do it with the hopes or the aspirations that you're going to be able to get it done in the same manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a quick example? Bills.
You're already in the lane.
Let me slide in there. I think about growing up when I used to love to sit around the older folks and listen to their stories, to their wisdom, and it was because when you talked earlier about the part of the scripture said that you'll be amongst the wise. I felt like I was wise, even though I was quiet and listening. I felt like I was wise because I was sitting amongst the wise, and it's like they had wisdom that was oozing out of them. And when you grab a piece of it, I was more enamored about what they had to share and how it was going to apply to my life. I always tell people I'm slow, but I'm smart. It may take me a minute to get it, but once I get it, I got it.
That's the way you roll.
Yeah. So it's just like it's like give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Because once I got it, it's there. And I think he's saying in the scripture that you have to be teachable. When we used to play these video games, if Bill remember, we would practice on beating up rolling a little bit every now and then too. but we would practice. We in the video games they would have when we played football. Uh, it would have a learn mode where you're actually learning how to do the maneuvers and all of that kind of stuff, and then you would have pro mode. And I used to always tell my kids growing up, I said, you can't put yourself in pro mode where you're not teachable anymore. You're not willing to listen and hear what's being said or something new that's being introduced. So we had to learn how to shift gears into being in staying in a learning mode, staying in a teaching mode, staying in a listening mode. When I got into this space of mental health therapy and stuff like that, that was one of the first things I had to learn. Instead of having the answers in my technical world, I was prided on having the answers. In this world, I'm prided on learning how to listen
Yeah.
and listen.
Listening is
And
significant.
yeah, it's a significant piece of it is learning how to listen so you can help yourself get out of the way to be able to help somebody else.
Yeah. And that, so if you're the speaker, then you use your voice to share the word, but much of the work involves silence or fewer words. We talk about the ministry of presence. Someone's experiencing illness, you visit the hospital. That's not the time to come in running your mouth. That's the time to be more, gentle, quiet. You're listening. You're trying to discern what they may be feeling or experiencing in the moment, and just be present. So, this is good. This lesson, in my estimation, is one of sensitivity to just being sensitive to the need to listen, which means you got to be quiet to listen, and to be intentional about that, and enter into spaces with a desire to hear, to listen, to know, no matter how much you know. That's a good posture to assume in these scenarios. Okay. So, okay. Any final words? Any last
I
thoughts?
would like to say that listening is we can listen with our other senses, and you're touching on that by when you say going into a hospital room, and you, you don't want to be the one talking. You want to feel what's going on with your senses.
Yeah.
We just looked at a movie, Play Misty for Me. And even though it was out in 71, I'm just sitting down to listen, to look at it. But it involved a man who was being stalked. And everything seemed good. He was doing just what he usually would do. He was a playboy and he was playing the field. But it was sort of catching up with him because he got one last one who was a insane stalker. And had he listened to with more than his ears, had he
Mm,
listened to her tones and a couple of times she became very loud and aggressive for no reason. And
yeah.
he stopped and looked, but he didn't interpret what he was feeling. He heard it. It was a little bit over the top,
Good.
out of the place, but he didn't interpret that. Now, the the gist of his not hearing was he was trying to hear with his ears, but he should have been hearing with a lot of others, all of his other senses about this one. And she ended up killing, maiming other people in his life because of this. And he could sense there's a problem here, but he would not allow it because her words would always come back. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, we'll do it this way. And she would cross all kind of barriers. Just, he met her for the first time. They got together. Well, the next day, she turns up at his door with
Hmm.
food and groceries. She moves past him. Given him he had not given her an invitation. And she just pops up. He's there talking to someone. She moves past both of them into his house. And hi, I have so and so. I have pot roast, you know. So he missed opportunities to hear with all of his senses. And
Hmm.
it brought ruin to his life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good story. That was at Clint Eastwood, I believe, was the star on that one. Yeah. So listening more than just the physical ear, other senses, the eyes, and just picking up on cues. Good stuff. All right. I think we covered the bases. Tomorrow's another day. Y'all come on. We didn't have enough ones. I think we only had about 10, 12 ones today. That means we need to be reading, man. This is not a TV show, a radio show, a podcast. We're all learning together, right? That's what the songs say. We all doing this together.
You.
Thank you for joining us here at the Journey Center. We pray this message has blessed and encouraged you. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an opportunity to grow in faith with us. We have more uplifting messages and powerful teachings coming your way, so stay connected. Until next time, may God bless you and guide you on your journey.